Oh, hello there, Briar Rose Brigade. Welcome back to my Gothic Grotto. I'm Thorn. I use he, him, his, and today we're on episode 4 of the Midnight Ballroom podcast. Soon I won't be able to count the episodes on my fingers anymore, except maybe in binary, but more on that later. So, the interesting thing about counting on your fingers in binary, something most people don't do and don't know is a thing, but my dad taught me how to do it because he's an actual rocket scientist. Yes, they do exist. And so basically each finger gets assigned 1, and then twice 1, which is 2, twice 2, 4, twice 4, 8, and then 16. So altogether, you add them up, and this counts as, sorry, I bumped the microphone. This counts as 31. The thing is, I can't do episode 4 in binary because it's this finger, the center one, in case you're not watching, and I'm not going to do that. Anyway, so let's see, updates. Today is actually Tuesday, February 22nd. I got the previous episode out earlier this afternoon, so I've barely heard any reactions yet, which is fine, you know. People can take their time watching, obviously, if they want to watch, that is. And it just took me a long time to get the previous one out because there were some tech issues, and it was my dad's birthday last weekend. And there's kind of a funny but awkward story. As we were sitting in the restaurant, I feel very weird at family gatherings with my bio fam because I know that even though they know I'm trans and pagan and all that, I don't hide it, but I can't really be that person that I really am around them, so I was just like, okay, whatever. So, I did have my crochet with me, and I pulled out the whip I happened to have, whip being work in progress. I didn't pull out a whip. that'd be wild. But, and it was the Hades devotional shawl that I'm doing for a friend. And you can tell that it's, even if you don't know it's for him, like, it's a black shawl with skulls. So I was just like, yeah, just crocheting this cheerful pagan boy. Because maybe the people around me, the humans around me, don't see me, but my gods do. And it was really sweet. There was an empty chair at our table because there were 5 of us but 6 chairs, and at one point in my mind's eye I saw Gwen, who was there with me to support me and stuff. She's usually with me in a given space. I saw him sit down at the empty chair because, you know, if I had a human spouse or significant other, of course they'd just be included in family gatherings. That's how it works in my family, and that's how it did work with my ex. And so it's like Gwen saying, yeah, I'm still here, even though they can't see me and maybe like don't accept your relationship with me. And I mean either like the religious or the romantic side of that relationship, because I am the god spouse of my patron god. So, and then also the queer side of that relationship, I'm not sure they'd accept either. I'm not talking about all of my biofam, just some of them who have significant influence in certain ways right now in my life. Speaking of, right now, my parents are out of town visiting my dad's parents. So it's kind of nice to just have the house to myself and two of my sisters who live here. This is kind of like, this is such a hard topic to know how to talk about, because I don't want to openly throw shade or anything, but I also don't want to pretend everything's fine. But like, this might sound weird, but one thing we look forward to when we're home alone is cleaning up. Not throwing parties or anything, just cleaning the house. And that's the situation. Yep. I won't go into the reasons why it's hard to clean up when we're not home alone, but it is. And on a similar note, earlier today I took the can of WD-40 that my friend graciously lent me and used it to oil the hinges of my front door, and then I oiled everything else that made a squeak. Not the guinea pigs, just like all the hinges and the runners in the drawers. So I felt so powerful. But like, now that's the heater or fan or something coming on. So the front door is absolutely silent now when it's opened. It's amazing. And if you heard it in the previous episode, mind you, I made a cut on either side of that sound so I could lower the volume of that specific clip as much as possible. It was even louder in real life. And I did figure out how to take out the noise that was happening. I canceled I reduced the noise in Audacity, and then when I imported the file to Resolve, I used DaVinci Resolve, the free version for editing. It was kind of strange. So audio 1 is taken up by the native audio of the video, and then the microphone audio, I put that on audio 2 usually, but I could still hear the noise even though I'd taken it out. So I put it on audio 3, like the third track of audio, and then it was fine. I don't know why yet, but I figured, well, it works, I'm just gonna go with it. And it is one of those unresolved queries, so to speak, that I'm gonna ask Brian about. Speaking of, huge thanks to Brian for helping me with the audio syncing issue. I had to render the episode. Last time I had to render it 3 times, and it always takes a few hours on my laptop. So the first 2 times the audio wasn't syncing. And the last time I figured out, or I was told that I can generate optimized media, which means making a really compressed version of the file so that the playback will play at the proper speed, because before it was like the video looked like that, so I couldn't tell if the audio was lined up. I tried to do it by sound and like by the waveform, and then the second time I did it by the auto sync, but for some reason it didn't work. I did do the clap that you do to help sync up the audio and video, as I recently learned. But still, though I had edited out the clap by the time I went back for the second pass through, but like it thought the audio should be just a couple, not even a couple seconds, like a few hundredths of a second before the video, and I could tell, and I was like, darn, I have to go back in there and fix it. It just can't handle this. So, pardon me. So yeah, that was the whole thing. I think I'm going to try turning the gain slightly down on my microphone, because I have the Audacity file open and I'm terrified of the amount of noise that I'm going to have to take out this time. I was trying not to bump it, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I think it might just be the fan or something. You might be wondering why I have a witch hat on. It is a crocheted purple witch hat with a black ribbon and black roses on the brim. The answer is because I wanted to, and this is an old project that I made quite a few years ago. I realized they didn't have a Halloween costume, and I was like, well, I can just whip up a witch hat. And I didn't have a pattern, I just made it. And then I've been commissioned by friends 2 other times for this hat, and there's still no pattern. I just looked at what I did and tried to replicate it as best I could, and they seem happy with it. So, but I have a very specific memory of, like, on that Halloween, which was 2018, the year before I got to know, well, the name of Gwyn ap Nudd, who was my horned god this whole time, and dedicated to him next Halloween. But I remember thinking, this is nice and all, like, spending time with friends. It's a better Halloween than it could have been, but is this all? Like, I want a really fantastical, like, special Halloween. And I meant, like, a party or something, and I still want that. Like, I want to live in a place where I can go all out in this, like, gothy, magical way for Halloween. But also, the next Halloween was one of the most special nights of my life, because it was the night when I dedicated myself for life to Gwyn ap Nudd. And also, in retrospect, we decided that it's appropriate to consider that our wedding day. So I did get to have a Halloween wedding. I'm so goth. So, since I've already shown this, I'm going to take it off, because it is kind of hot in here. It's partly the lights and partly the fact that I live in California, where it's not icy cold in the winter, usually. Coffee break, which I think will become an iconic thing for me. One of my friends, I was hanging out with her on Zoom, and she said, whenever you take a sip from your coffee, I expect you to say coffee break, and I was like, yeah, I was thinking it. So anyway, today my main mug is the pink thermos from Cracker Barrel that has a unicorn on it that says unicorn hair, don't care. And it's this cartoon unicorn that's prancing very cutely. And I love it that she has, I'm just going to say she, seems to fit. She has this very round body and tiny legs, and she's just so graceful and dignified, and I love her. And she has a hot pink mane and a golden accents and a horn and golden sparkles. So I also have, I like to think, unicorn hair, and I don't care. The second, or the auxiliary mug this time, I decided to show my other sheep mug, which is one of my, last time I said 3 international mugs that family members had bought me on various trips that they made. I've not been to these countries, sadly. But this is actually the 4th one, because I forgot about it. Anyway, this mug is white and then has a bunch of cartoon sheep with brightly colored wool. And it says sheepish on the bottom, and then on the other side it says New Zealand. So you can guess where it's from. Last time I remember drinking from my auxiliary mug when I finished describing it and going, that's weird, I haven't even finished the main mug yet. But I think the operative phrase is unicorn hair, don't care. The other thing I loved but didn't comment on when I was editing this made me crack up. I had my little beanie baby goat, whose name is Banros. And when I took him, when I put him back, I picked him up and receded him into the background. Not actually just in the way I was moving him. It was which was funny. Oh yeah, and speaking of goats and the reason why I named him Banros, I talked about my Vicaro path last time, and I'm wearing this cardigan, which is, as I always say, it's the one based on the Granny Square cardigan by Altknots. Check her channel out, Spooky Crochet, and also coffee. She's the reason I got interested in Death Wish coffee, which I'm drinking right now, and also ergonomic hooks, which help a lot. I've had long-standing tendon problems in my arms, so it's nice to do things that help. Anyway, this I call this cardigan my Vicaro cardigan, or Vicardi for short, or just because it's fun. And that's Vicardi with a K instead of Cardi with a C. So anyway, when I was showing my jar of mugwort last time that Brian gave me, the same Brian who is my fellow brother Vicaro and also just an awesome friend and helps me with the audio issues. I was going to show this postcard of the moon. It's just like a photograph of the moon, and it's close enough so that you can see the lunar surface, which my friend Autumn sent me just out of the blue. And Autumn is also chosen family, so I was really happy to receive that. So thank you. And I did have a lot to cover, but I'm gonna think about it while I drink coffee. So I guess we could just go into other crochet chat, because I've already mentioned quite a bit of that. I haven't done anything with this neck yet, or worked on her, my snack amigurumi. However, I've done quite a bit of work on this blue pineapple lace shawl. No, it's a wrap skirt, overskirt, except in very specific circumstances. So, I knew it. The maximum file size warning. I'm still on my old phone. The new one hasn't gotten its case yet. So, I'm on my last skein of this yarn, which has been discontinued. I knew that before I began the project, but I'm like, well, I guess I have to be done soon. But I also added a little bit of a silver border to one side, because I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing with the pattern on this side. Kind of just I broke pattern for reasons and just had to kind of improvise. So I thought, well, I could just make it look like a spider web. So I'm doing that. And this skirt is devotional to the goddess I know as Inanna, or in the Minoan path, Terasia, the Sun Mother. Cat just ran up the stairs. So I call her Sun Mom. Or Summer Mom. And I think that I will hold these two together for the silver, like, spiderwebby part of the skirt, because I've run out of that silver yarn. So this is a silver bit of embroidery floss and a really fuzzy, fluffy white strand of yarn. That seemed to fit, like, that seemed to be approved by the relevant gods. And I'm planning to finish the current row of pineapples. I think I have like 2 more rows to finish the pineapple, but depending on how much yarn I have left, because I might want to make a different thing to go with this. I might use a different yarn to just finish it off and maybe do a border. So we'll have to see. But I like how quickly it's working up, because of course my huge wrap skirt based on the frescoes at Knossos and other forms of both Minoan art and like cave art. That's where it started, actually. In terms of inspiration. So that one took 6 months to complete, and it does have a lot of color work, and like lace works up very quickly. But with that one, I wanted to make sure that I could wear it. Pardon me. Like in public or like with other people and be decent. Whereas that one, I can wear it over something, but also like knowing Inanna, she, and Gwyn for that matter, they might just, I mean, a lot of my pagan path is like doing devotional things just for my gods that don't necessarily have a community aspect, and it's not like entirely sexual, but that is often a part of it, just because that's who I am and how my relationships with them work. So yeah. What are my other projects? Well, there's the Hades shawl. I haven't shown that yet. It's a black triangle shawl and has skulls in the lace pattern. And it's working up pretty fast, a lot faster than I remembered from the last one I did, which was for Gwyn, another death god. So it's probably because by the time I was noticing how long it took, I was on like the triangle, because you do it from the point up, like the bottom of the triangle where I was working. I guess it was the top of the triangle if it's balanced on its head. Yeah. Was really long. But this one, it's working out pretty fast right now, at least, which is nice. And the funny thing is, I've used half a skein of the 3 skeins of black Lion Brand Basic Stitch anti-pilling that I bought for this project. And then there are 3 skeins of the other color, which is like teal or something. I'm gonna take off my cardi. It's hot in here. Yes, I am wearing a Sailor Moon shirt. Oddly enough, it's from the men's section in Target, and it's not at all objectifying, which surprised me, given where it's from. And that's why I bought it. Also, I love Sailor Moon. So anyway. Oh, and just to describe it, it has the names of their planets and the little colorful symbols, like Moon, Mercury, Mars, etc., the astrological symbols, and it has their outlines in black and white, just in their magical girl outfits doing the power poses. So yeah. I have a limited number of t-shirts and like other clothes. Still working on my gothic wardrobe. But I figured since I hadn't shown this one, I could wear it. Man, I forgot what I was talking about. Talking about Hades, or the shawl. It took a long time to go back and forth at the end of the skull shawl when I was doing it for Gwen. Oh, and the other nice thing is that I've gotten to where I can, as I kind of alluded to with the witch hat, I can read my project instead of the pattern, and it's not as easy. And I do check in sometimes with just making sure whether I'm actually right about how many stitches I think I chained here. But I realized that's a really cool skill to have, and that's something I should be proud of, because it's sometimes if something comes easy to you don't always think it's worth being proud of. Not that it comes easy, but it's just like, I can do it now. It's not inhumanly difficult, so but that doesn't mean that it's not something that's still a skill that I have. Kind of the same thing with reading charts. I've realized a lot of people have a lot of trouble reading charts and like crochet charts. And that makes sense. Like, I had a lot of trouble at first, and that was actually why I wanted to learn to crochet, because I found a really pretty lace pattern, but I just couldn't make heads or tails of the chart. And now I can. Now I can look at... I can go to Pinterest and find these amazingly intricate lace patterns, which are charts, and they're grainy JPEGs where the instructions are in Russian. For some reason, the Russians have amazing lace, so kudos to them. But these images are not easy to read, but I can do it, I've found out, which is pretty cool. I should be proud of that.
Hi there, it's Editing Thorn. It just didn't feel right to mention Russia without saying that I've become aware that there's a pretty bad situation in the Ukraine, and I don't know much about it, but just wanted to say that my thoughts are with anyone who's there or affected by it. So that's all. Back to Video Thorn.